everyone, it's Gina from orchidandopal.com and welcome back. Today I have a brand new earring tutorial to share with you, and I'm excited to share it today because through the 29th of this month, Beading School has all of their special boxes, like the little fuchsia boxes and their curated collections, on sale this week only. And as you may have seen in the past, I've shared some of the boxes they have in their special deals section for some of the things that will be incorporated in this tutorial, like the Preciosa Bicones, the Nacre Pearl Cabochons, and the Preciosa Sew-On Crystals. I'll try to link to those unboxings in the corner if you haven't seen them, and I'll also link to their special deals and curated bead boxes and collections on their website, so you can go right to that section and see what you can find before that sale is over. And the other thing is the variety that you see here in green and gold is using the materials taken directly from the latest Beading School Academy subscription box. So I'll link that unboxing as well, and also the link to the Academy subscription if you'd like to get started with that. And if you are a subscriber, you can top up your box and add things directly from the Beading School shop to your cart and choose that at checkout so that your items will be shipped with your next subscription box with no additional charge. So here's a closer look at the green and gold variety, and really we're going to be making this beaded component, and then you can decide what kind of earring finding and what kind of crystal dangle component, if any, you want to add to the bottom. One of these components could also be made multiple times and put together to make a bracelet or some other type of beaded jewelry design as well, so you could have something else that coordinates with your new pair of earrings. As you can see, we're going to be using the 8mm Nacre pearl in the center, as well as some 3mm and 4mm bicones and 3 and 4mm Druk beads, or you can use any round bead like a pearl to form the base, along with some Preciosa 4mm sew-on crystal rhinestones and some size 11 and 15/0 seed beads. I'll be using the Miyuki brand today. As for beading thread, I'll be using my go-to 6-pound test Fireline, as well as a size 11 beading needle, and you'll also want to have a pair of scissors and possibly a pair of jewelry pliers handy. To get started with this project, all you'll need to do is cut yourself off a comfortable length of beading thread. It'll probably take around 2 feet per earring, and then you can thread your needle and we will jump into this tutorial. All right, everyone, so we're going to make the other purple and silver earring to match that one that I had shown you before. And to get started, we're going to begin the base of our beadwork by picking up 4 of our round 4mm beads. You can go ahead and pull those down, leave yourself a 4 to 6 inch tail, and then go through all 4 of those beads one more time, because we're going to form these into a loop. Now go through one more. That way you can complete your loop. Pull. And then you'll have something that looks like this. Now what I like to do here, just since we haven't secured the tail thread yet, is just go under the thread bridge and make 1/2 hitch knot right there in between those 2 beads. And then I'm going to go through the next 4mm. Now pick up a 3mm round bead and sew through the next 4mm. And repeat that 3 more times, all the way around. When you get to your last one, go through the 4mm bead as usual, but then also go through the next 3mm bead. And this is what you should have at this point. And now, what we're going to do, going all the way around again, is pick up a 3mm round, go through one of the holes of your sew-on crystal, making sure you catch the needle through the groove underneath the glass, and pick up another 3mm bead. and then sew through the next 3mm bead you get to. So skip over the 4mm round and just go through that next 3mm. That crystal is going to flip around on you a little bit right now. It's no big deal. Just getting that attached is the first step. And repeat that all the way around. So once again, 3mm, your sew on crystal, and a 3mm, and then sew through the next 3mm. And when you get to your last one, you'll sew through the 3mm as usual, but then proceed through the next 3mm and come out of the sew on crystal through the same hole that you had gone through before. And now you should have something that looks a little bit like this. All right, now I went ahead and sewed in my tail thread just to get it out of the way for the video, but if you want, you can just leave that where it is until you get to the end of your beadwork and then sew that back in and secure it and clip off the excess. To move on with the next step, coming out of one of these sew-on crystals, we're going to pick up next 3 15-0 seed beads, 1 3mm bicone, and 3 15-0 seed beads. Then we're going to skip all of these beads until we get to the next sew-on crystal and sew through that crystal, again through the same holes that we went through before. And then just repeat that all the way around. So 3 15-0s, 1 3mm bicone, and 3 15-0s, and sew through the next sew-on crystal. All right, and you can start to pull that just a little bit gently, but you don't have to pull that tight yet. What you want to do now is proceed through the next 3 15-0s and the next 3mm bicone. And then you're going to pick up 3 11-0s and sew through the next bicone. Pick up 3 11-0s and sew through the next bicone. And there's 2 more times you'll be repeating that to do that on all 4 sides. So 3 11-0s and through the next bicone again, and we'll have 1 more. And then this time you can go through the next 2 11-0s as well. So now you have something like this. You can see that your beadwork is starting to form more of a pillow-like shape where you can then insert your cabochon just like that. You can slowly start to tighten up those 11-0s a little bit, but don't tighten too much. Just have them tightened sort of around the base of the cabochon. And then holding this with your thumb and your forefinger and pulling that thread a little bit so it's hugging that cabochon, you can then pick up 5 15-0s and then find the second seed bead in the next section, so that middle one, go through that one. And those 15-0s are going to sit on top and hug that cabochon even more to hold it in place. So once again, pick up 5 15-0s, then go through the second 11-0 you get to next. and then turn and repeat. And then when you get back to the first one again, go through that one, and then continue going through the 15 O's and go all the way around that entire ring of beads that's sitting around that cabochon and tighten that up. So go around all of those at least once more, making sure that your cabochon is sitting in the center and you're tightening up all those seed beads around it a little bit at a time each time you pass around a side. All right, so this is what your beadwork should look like, and I'm just going to tighten up that section below one more time as well. So now I'm going to step down and I'm going to go through the 11-0 and the 3mm bicone, and then I'm going to sew around the 11-0s and the 3mm in that section now that our cabochon is in place, and just tighten that up for more reinforcement. All right, so there will still be just a little bit of movement, but this is going to tighten up even further. We want to then follow our thread path down to one of our sew-on crystals. So just continue going through some of your beads depending on where you are. I'm going to go through these 15 O's here, and that way I can then go through the sew-on crystal in that corner. And then we're going to pick up two 11-0s, one 4mm bicone, and two 11-0s. And then go through the next sew-on crystal, and this is through the same holes that we had gone through before once again. So two 11-0s, a 4mm bicone, and two 11-0s. And then through the crystal in the corner that you get to next. And repeat that all the way around. All right, and then you can go through the next two 11-0s, the bicone, and then the following two 11-0s. And then give this a good tight pull. And then pick up four 11-0s and skip the sew-on crystal and go through the next two 11-0s, the bicone, and the two 11-0s. And repeat that all the way around. So four 11-0s, skip the sew-on crystal, and then through the next beads. And pull. And then you can also go through the following two 11-0 seed beads And as you pull this, just pull it in a way that your sew-on crystals are slightly sitting up over the 11 O's, and you'll have time to adjust this as you go forward too, but that's what they're going to eventually do. So as you can see, I'm coming out of the middle of the seed bead, so I have 4 on this side, and then I'm coming out and I'm going to pick up one more 11O and then go through the next 4 seed beads. And then continue on through the bicone, and then the next 4 11Os. Pull that a little bit, and that gives our corner there more of a point. We'll do that again 2 more times. Pick up an 11O, sew through the next 4 11Os, the bicone, and the next 4 11Os. Let's do that one more time. And then gather up whatever earring finding you want to use. This is one I found at beading school that I'll be using today. It does have a little snip in the wire loop. So I am going to take my pliers and just gently make sure this is as tightly closed as possible, because I'm going to sew this right into our beadwork. So I'm coming out of these 4 seed beads right here, and I'm just going to go through the loop on the bottom of that earring finding. And this will depend on what kind of earring finding you choose, of course. Yours may attach a little differently, and that's fine. I'm going to sew this right in though, so let me go through the next 4 seed beads here and all the other seed beads along the side. And when I give that a pull, it's going to fit that right in at the corner there at the top. I'm going to skip this corner 11O seed bead and proceed through the next ones to come out of the next corner, which is where we're going to add our drop component. And you don't have to add a drop component, and you can also add one that is different from this one. And this process will be different depending on the type of component you use and the hole placement. But for this one, with the hole that goes through the side at the top, one way to do it is to pick up 2 11Os, and then you can pick up your bead, pull those down. You can pick up 2 more 11Os, go through the corner 11O, through the opposite direction. When you pull that, you can see how this attaches at the bottom. And I'm just going to go through the next 11O, and I'll pick up a 15O, go through the next 11O and the drop bead. Then I'll go up through the next 11O, pick up a 15O to match the other side, go through the 11O and the 11O on the corner, and pull. So at this point, your beadwork and everything is really done. I do have a couple of tips or ideas for you though, because depending on how tight you pulled these seed beads here around the cabochon, you may still feel like you have a little wiggle room, and you don't want your cabochon to be able to come out, of course. So what you can do is with your remaining working thread, you can go through some of these beads, just following the thread path to reinforce it, tighten up any areas that may seem a little bit loose, making sure your cabochon stays centered. And you also have the option to use that alternate hole that is going through the sew-on crystal setting. I find that once everything's tightened up, they pretty much just stay where they are. They don't flip around. But you can also use that in a way to tighten up the beadwork. For example, maybe from here, you could sew directly through this hole of the sew-on crystal and then add a 15O on either side of this 11O to secure it with that, and just do that all the way around. That's just one idea off the top of my head. But again, I found that with your tension, and we all have the tendency to pull things a little bit tighter or looser, your beadwork may be fine just how it is. And if that's the case, just go ahead and make several half-hitch knots as you go around the side. I'll make one right here. And go through a few more beads. I'll make another knot here. Go through a few more beads. I am going to go around and through this earring finding one more time just to secure that location a little bit more. And I guess I will make one more half hitch knot. And I think we're good to go. So I'm going to trim that. And that is all for this tutorial. I want to thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed it. And as a reminder, through the 29th of this month, don't forget to check out the links below to see the Beading School sale for their special deal boxes and different curated collections, because those prices won't be any lower. And you can find a lot of the same materials that you'll need to go into this particular earring project, as well as a lot more projects and tutorials that I have here on my channel, and of course that Beading School has as well. Feel free to leave me a comment down below. Let me know if you plan to give this a try or have given it a try, or anything else you'd like to say. I'd love for you to give the video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Also share it with your other bead-loving friends. And please feel free to subscribe to my channel while you're here so that you will be notified when I'm back with more tutorials and other beading fun. That's all I have for today, but I'll be back again real soon. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and as always, happy beading.